Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties, because it's cold out there today. In other words, it's Groundhog Day. So we're bringing back my conversation with Bill Murray on the Kennedy Center red carpet when he received the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor in 2016.
I thought maybe if I didn't get back to him right away, they'd go to someone else. That's really what I thought. Now I wish I had done that, but it's okay. Well, I kind of like that Zombieland one where I was myself and I was killed. You don't get to die very often, and I chose to die in that film, so that was kind of fun. But Groundhog Day, I think, is a really unusually great script, a great concept, an idea for a movie. But I like them all. I really do like them all.
If you could have a Groundhog Day moment, one day to relive over and over, either in your life or on set, what would it be?
I think my 5th birthday was pretty good. I got a Davy Crockett coonskin hat, a bicycle, a Cubs jacket, and a Cubs hat, and a softball. Cleveland's fun. I like their team. They got some good juice, but we got the sticks, and we got the pitchers.
Cinderella story about to become Mark Twain champ. Is that better than winning the Masters, or would you rather win the Masters?
Well, I don't think about winning the Masters. I did win the Pebble Beach tournament, though.
Yeah, pretty good golf.
And that was pretty good. My brothers and I were caddies, and so that's where that came from. We'll see. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. I got to go in there, and I got to figure out how to accept this thing.
What did we see roll down we saw a ball come flying in here.
Oh, well, he asked me to throw him a pitch, and I managed to ricochet off the wall. I hadn't warmed up. I hadn't loosened up, so I had to go.
I also spoke on the red carpet with fellow comedian Jimmy Kimmel.
Bill Murray is perhaps our greatest American. He is beloved by all everywhere he goes. He's like a leprechaun. He's very elusive, but if you do happen to catch him, he presents you with a pot of gold. I don't think Bill Murray fever has ever really gone away. I think it's been simmering, and especially guys my age, I think we will always have Bill Murray fever. I mean, there will always be guys dressed up as Peter Venkman for Halloween. It's just a fact of life.
We have the Halloween candy stuff coming up. Any good ones for this?
Well, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But yes, we are going to encourage parents to take their kids Halloween candy.
If someone did that for your Bill Murray DVDs, which one would make you freak out the most?
Do people still have DVDs?
That's a good question.
I don't even know how those work.
Do you have a favorite role?
My favorite Bill Murray movie, it's very hard to say. The first one I saw was Meatball, so I have a particular fondness for that one.
Favorite quote now?
There's a very large pair of underpants hanging from the flagpole.
I next spoke with SNL alum and Barry star Bill Hader.
It was very simple of you should just do things that you like, I always felt that when he was in a movie it was because he liked it, there wasn't like a strategy or something. So he had a lot of integrity, which I liked.
Do you have a favorite role?
Probably either Rushmore, probably. And then when I was younger, probably Ghostbusters or Stripes. He's Bill Murray.
How does it feel to be the second funniest Bill here tonight?
I don't think I'm the second funniest Bill. I mean, I think Bill Gates is going to be here, and he's hilarious. And I think Bill Clinton's going to drop in, and he's going to be in. Who else?
Lots of Bills.
Bill Russell. I think all the Bills are right before me, actually. There's a whole Bill Nye's going to come out. So yeah, they're all here tonight, and then I follow up. I'm the last one. So they almost what seemed like the absence of mannerisms I thought was so cool. He didn't push anything as a performer, and I didn't know what that was when I was younger, but then as you got older and started performing and kind of really studying people and even on a unconscious level, okay, I guess I'm acting now, I want to see what they're, wow, he makes that look really effortless, but a lot of work goes into that, I now realize. So his subtlety is great.
I next spoke with Bill Murray's Ghostbusters co-star Sigourney Weaver.
I do love the very beginning of Ghostbusters where he's conducting the electric tests and he's torturing the boy and making the girl feel brilliant. I just love that first scene. It's just wonderful. Well, it was really fun. I'd heard all kinds of things about Bill, and he really sees who you are, and he used to make fun of me because I was quite serious, and I was sort of the straight man in the group, but in a very loving way. And he's one of the most wonderful partners to have in a scene because he's so present. I think, first of all, Mark Twain would just adore Bill, and they'd be great friends. I feel they have a lot in common somehow. They're both sort of iconoclasts, and I think Bill is such an original talent, and so is Mark Twain.
Ghostbusters came right between, in the middle of Alien and Aliens, so
Yes.
it kind of allowed to show you a different side, a funnier side than Ellen Ripley. How did Ghostbusters allow you to show a different side?
Well, frankly, if you do something like Ripley and you're in a serious film, although I'd mostly done comedy, it's very hard to be considered for a comedy. I had to audition for Ivan Reitman, and I had to convince him that I would be able to play this romantic comedy, and so I had to really work for the part. Oh, I think that entire scene is improvised, except for I think there's 3 people in there already, something like that. So he was wonderful that way. Well, I think his manner is very loose. He's sort of very, he's very particular about what he says. He's not going to say anything kind of that's just convenient or expositional. He's going to get to the root of it. And so he's very smart about what he ends up saying. Very clever and very good, I thought, at playing Peter Venkman, who was so awful.
Was it hard going to the fridge for a while after that role?
It was actually. I'm always a bit afraid when I open the fridge.
Awesome.
I next spoke with acclaimed musician Rhiannon Giddens.
No, I don't know him actually. I met him for the first time today, but they asked me to come to play for this, which I was, of course, very honored because I'm a huge fan of his. But also, I'm a huge fan of Mark Twain, and I play period-correct music on period-correct instruments, and so I thought it was a great opportunity to bring that in. So I suggested, a couple of songs that Mark Twain would have definitely heard, and they were excited about that. So I'm really excited about bringing that historical piece into the ceremony. I'm doing the Boatman Dance and Foolish Frog, and I've got my 1858 replica banjo and one of my bandmates on bones, and it's going to be really fun. The spirit of it, it's just that the idea of supreme silliness, but with such, just such gusto, and that's only, of course, one aspect of Bill Murray. He's got the wonderful, serious acting chops, but it's just as a musician with the banjo, I was like, that's the way to go. So.
As a musician yourself, talk about the few moments that he's busted out in song, either with, Star Wars or the Very Merry Christmas, talk about his singing job.
Hey man, it's like I think that everybody can sing, and if he sings like Bill Murray should sing, so I think that's just fabulous.
Awesome. Did you have a certain role or movie of his that you grew up on and just watched over and over?
The usual Groundhog Day, Stripes. I remember. Groundhog Day and Scrooged are my favorite. Scrooge is my favorite Christmas Carol adaptation. I just think it's brilliant. And so.
Do you have a favorite line in Scrooge?
Oh.
Or a scene?
With the scene, of course, the scene at the end where he just goes completely off script and just talks about what his revelation. That's just, you can't. Nobody else could have pulled that off but him.
That's the key to all of his roles, really.
Yeah, he's like the only one for every role.
Yeah, exactly. Well, have fun tonight.
Thank you.
I next spoke with comedian Bruce Valanche, who wore a Bill Murray t-shirt.
My shirt, which is more a limited edition. Where else can I wear this? I figure I have a canvas this big. I might as well celebrate the friend over here.
If I put it looks like he's talking if I have the mic on it. Say a Bill Murray line.
Say a Bill Murray line?
Yeah.
I've been Scrooged.
Belly buttoned.
Belly buttoned.
Do you have a favorite role?
I love the guy in Caddyshack. I just love the guy dragging the clubs around and all that. He's done so much that's one. He's done stuff that's more acting than that. But I love him that he can be so loose and then do something really, really serious like the Wes Anderson pictures or the Wes Anderson's one I'm thinking, or St. Vincent, which is really such a good piece of work.
Even like a lot of people forget he's in like Tootsie. He's like the straight. I think we're getting into a weird area here.
But,
he's
right.
the roommate. Yeah.
Oh right. Well, he's gone. He goes back and forth and does stuff. And after he had this reign at the top of the box office, and he did a passion project, The Razor's Edge, which was too serious for his audience. He decided, I think, to do more interesting, modest pictures because he had, he'd been to the top, and you can just stay there for so long doing that kind of those Groundhog Day and Ghostbusters and those gigantic tentpole movies. So he did a lot of really interesting, serious pictures like Lost in Translation. They're really interesting stuff. I mean, who has that range? And what movie star of that caliber kind of walks away from all that and says, I want to do something more than these box office popcorn movies that I've done? It's very rare, yeah. I mean, I can't think of anybody, as a matter of fact.
And finally, I spoke with Ghostbusters director Ivan Reitman.
What can I say about him, right? I think he's just really smart. And, you just never know what's going to happen. And that's part of great humor, right? It's keeping it fresh, never doing the same thing at the same time. He's respectful of the script, and at the same time, he always feels that he can top it. And he's always looking to keep things changing up so that a director has the most choices to make for the final film. I was just talking about this with Sigourney yesterday, and she said, you should talk about this because it was such a great moment. When he first comes into Sigourney's apartment, Dana Barrett's apartment, in the very first Ghostbusters, and the scene didn't seem to be working. And I remember just yelling out to Bill, we need something here. Can you do something? And he walks into the apartment, he turns and he sees this piano right beside him, and he goes, "Ding." They hate that. Just out of his head. And it just changed the whole character of the scene. And it became this really teasing seduction for the whole piece. He can be big too, it's a question of what the film calls for, He's made these great speeches that, where he plays at the top of his range as well, and it's part of the joy of watching him.
Now, I know in Ghostbusters, there's the line, it's if someone asks if you're a god, you say yes, and then by Groundhog Day, he said, I'm not the god, but I'm a god. Where is he in the, comedy god level tonight?
Well, he's at the very top. As you may have heard, he's receiving the Mark Twain Prize for comedy, and I don't think anyone deserves it more.
Do you have a favorite role of his that you didn't produce?
Well, I do love Harold Ramis's Groundhog Day. I think he's spectacular in it. I'm talking about Bill and really, frankly, everybody else.
What made Bill and Harold Ramis, the late, so great together? Because you worked with Ramis on Animal House too, right? Before, but that wasn't with Bill Murray. But what was it that Harold, you think, brought the best out of Bill?
Well, they were just really good together. I was very lucky. I got to work with all these guys, even before Saturday Night Live and before all the movies. I had a show called The National Lampoon Show that had Harold and Bill and John Belushi and Gilda Radner and Bill's brother, Brian Doyle Murray. And so I had a really good sense of what they could do. And Harold wasn't very well known by the time we did Stripes. And I told Bill, I think I'd like to pair the two of you together. I was totally confident in how well they would play together, and it turned out good.
And he's not the only one that's been working with family members, and you got your son in this too. Jason is an awesome director on his own right. How proud are you, just on a personal note, of the whole father-son thing?
Well, I'm really proud of Jason. I have an extraordinarily talented daughter as well, Catherine, and who's now directing in Canada and also starring. And so, look, you always hope that your children turn out well. So far, thank God, it has happened.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.